When we look towards the mid game for V5, this composition desperately wants to get early control around these objectives, get a bunch of pink wards down so they can start to sneak in from multiple different angles of attack onto WE. On WE's side, they're more going towards this traditional team fighting style of composition, but with a lot of heals. They're looking to get the Gragas to be this disengage tool. Same when you look at the Ornn. It's more about keeping and pushing back this aggressive nature that is coming in on the opponent's side.
I will say, for the side of WE, based on last game, I would much prefer them to have a proactive composition to be the ones trying to force the issue. It feels like V5 are the ones with priority once again, not necessarily lane priority, but with they're the ones that have to make the play happen. And it feels like, based on the games we've seen so far, WE are stronger when they can be the ones that are on the front foot.
I'd agree. However, they still have those opportunities to a certain extent, like the Syndra will have prio mid, can work very well with Beishang, even maybe hope to set up some kills onto Mole early. But overall, WE still have opportunities to make plays work in the early game.
We'll see if WE can find some early game plays for themselves, if they can get Jomung ahead, if Shanks can have a better time in this mid lane. The mid lane has gone both ways, but Mole seeming like the better player as we head into game number 3 here. Both of these teams looking to build their reputations. All right, well, both teams right now, as WE, this is their second series, V5, this will be the last game of their first series of the LPL. Both had an incredibly strong summer split. Now looking to prove themselves here in 2021. There is a wide open field to become a top team in the LPL. It's a new year, and we had so many roster shuffles. These first few weeks are going to be so telling on who the teams are that we need to be looking at moving forwards.
Well, I think looking at this game at least, both teams are going to be looking again to scramble to take control in the early stages of the game. I give the edge though to WE. We already talked about that mid lane matchup, and even when you look at the bot lane here, Missing and Jomung, they have a lot of playmaking ability with this Gragas support, and if you can get Beishang down into that bottom lane, you can make things work. The problem with looking at Set and Jhin is that they kind of slot into two different roles. Like, if you look towards the all-in potential of Set, it's really, really strong, whereas Jhin kind of wants to take this poke and trade and then eventually open up with the curtain call. But you can see here that, like, Missing and Jomung are just able to go aggressive level 1, and there's not very much you can do as Y4 and PP God.
Yeah, really aggressive trades on the bottom side, which you would expect, especially with Gragas having his passive to heal up. It's very easy to take these aggressive trades and then sustain yourself back up afterwards. Flash forwards from PP God as they go straight into Jomung. Ignite is taken. He's used his flash and he's going to go down in the 2v2. PP God strikes again.
That was amazing from PP God, but a big mistake from Jomung. Like, Set level 1 wants the flash. We've seen it pretty much every single time we've seen this guy in the LPL. And walking way too far forward to trade onto Y4, even cancels an auto in that trade, and then PP God realizes that it's too little too late, and Jomung goes down.
Beautifully done here from the bottom lane from V5. And this is exactly what you expect from PP God. He's such an aggressive support player. That's why he's built such a huge fan base over the course of last year. But Jomung wants to answer for this one. Dashes on in with the Wild Rush, but can't do too much with it. Breathe actually in a bit of trouble as Lanxing thought he was going to go a little bit more aggressive there, but decides not to overextend for this one.
Good job with the Bellows Breath there from Breathe to stop Lanxing from being able to go aggressive. Is taken quite low, and unfortunately for him, isn't able to get this wave shoved under a tower as easy as you'd like, so Lanxing doing a good job freezing it. However, with both junglers having path towards the bot side, it's not like there's going to be much attention here onto Breathe. Weiwei hovering here though, as PP God goes for the Hex Splash. I don't think he was in the bush.
Yeah, Missing is going to be able to be rooted up here. True damage coming out from the Haymaker, but Missing walks away with his life. Still had Flash as well, so was never in too much danger. Beishang now moving in towards the mid lane. Mole is very far up this lane right now. Shanks doesn't have a lot of mana. The Shroud going to do a lot to try and keep Mole safe here, but as soon as he tries to get out of that Shroud, in they go. Flash forced out, but Mole escapes.
bot side, though. We're still getting more action, Munch.
They've gone back out once again, missing so low on HP. Jomung as well, but they walk away. The burn isn't enough. How do they keep getting away with this?
They're getting away with it because by not dying, but they are certainly not getting away with it when it comes towards that CS, because this is going to be another wave that's shoved in. Now, Jomung and Missing are staying to hold on to this wave, but Weiwei stopped his back. They're just going. Rinse and repeat. Third time's the charm.
Yeah, they're looking for a dive this time around. Y4 has the fourth shot available. PP God over the wall, looking to try and get the stuns. Missing. Flashes under the tower and survives. Jomung lives as well. This is ridiculous. They've gone to the wrong side, though, and now they're going to get chased down by Lunching. Missing trying to walk away. Won't get away with it this time. They will answer, though, as Weiwei falls as well. Jomung walking underneath the enemy tower. Lunching grabs that one. It's a 3 for 2 overall.
Oh, God, what is going on? All the shenanigans are coming out. You know what? There's like when a boxer gets like that little bit too tired towards the end of a fight, and it feels like we're starting to get a little bit of that. PP God tries to make the aggressive play underneath the tower, but realizes that I'm a little bit too low. And with the amount of burst damage that can come through very quickly with Missing and Jomung, he ends up falling. And with the TPs coming in from V5, though, they're able to secure that one, at least to even it out. But very messy across the board, and has bought a little bit of time for Breathe in this top lane, shove in that mid lane, get a nice back for himself. He won't even have to burn TP here. He can just walk up towards his top lane, and now with the next dragons or even the further plays that try to happen on this bottom side for V5, Breathe can show up.
Yeah, I think the key thing to take away from this is that ultimately the fact that that was a fairly even fight and WE used less, right? They were just responding to the play. It was Shanks that TP'd down, whereas Mole had used his TP to get back to lane. Lanxing TP'd into the bottom side of the map. Meant Breathe had a bit of free time. Meant Shanks was able to pick up a kill in the bottom side fray as well. So all things considered, it's a fairly neutral play at the end of it, but it's V5 with a minor gold lead.
And now, Jomung Missing having this push down the bot side. You see again, Meishang and Weiwei are hovering just in the wings to try and make sure that they can support their teams where necessary.
Oh, PP God Hex flashes in onto Missing, but takes a bit of damage himself. Jomung jumps forward so damn aggressively. Haymaker's already been used, and Beishang picks up an easy kill. Now Weiwei in on the play, and Mole is rotating over as well. This could get bad for WE, who have really committed, but with the collateral damage, he slides out of the fight. Mole comes in. Perfect execution is available. Dashes under the tower, but he's exhausted. And so Jomung finds it instead. Now the TP comes out for Breathe. The Orn Horn is blown, and Weiwei finds himself alone in the fray, taken down and another with the shotgun.
It's a disaster, and Shanks is here. Y4, you gotta run. He will manage to escape, but my God, WE are putting the hurt onto V5's bot lane. What started off as a somewhat nice lane for Jomung and Missing, for Y4 and PP God, has now turned heavily in favor of Y4 and Missing. Yeah, they've got maybe 10 CS behind, but the kills that they've gotten over themselves, the pressure that they've now created on this bot lane is going to pay off dividends for WE.
See, this is the 5-head plays coming out from WE. They looked, in fact, let's take another look at the replay, and then I'll go into why they're 5 heads.
So, Jomung, again, we talked about how Beishang was here to support him. He goes in aggressive, bypasses the Showmaker, the Haymaker, which does a lot of work. The big thing here, again, is we're trying to just tick down on a timer to get this Orn TP in. Look at the top lane. Lanxing, he's got that lane fully shoved in. So as that wave is cleared, Lanxing TPs, there's nothing that, not Lanxing, Breathe TPs, there's nothing Lanxing can do. And from that point forward, you've got to force Weiwei into a scrap here as well. But beautiful stuff from WE.
And just think what happened with this team last year. Domo's taken them aside after game number 2 and said, look guys, you allowed a laning phase, an extended laning phase to happen. We never do laning phases here at WE. Just brawl. Just fight them wherever they come. Let's get down to the bot lane. Let's play around Jomung. V5 trying to force these fights around Jomung is letting WE play their comfort zone. This is the kind of skirmishes that they love to play.
And WE, again, off of the pressure now that they create a bot, should be able to get this Rift Herald. You can see the wave was shoved in there for Y4, so as a result, Jomung has first move here. He gets up towards this mid lane as the rest of WE support the Rift Herald play.
So WE, they managed to get the Drake, they managed to get the Rift Herald as well, finding every advantage off the back of this early couple of skirmishes they got for themselves. Stun goes out onto Mole in this midsection. Does have his ultimate available, has flash as well, so you shouldn't expect him to be in too much danger at this point. PP God will be able to finish off the control ward. And Missing immediately drops the ward to answer for that situation. Missing is a level up on PP God. They're just going to be kind of sparring with one another over this little ward skirmish that happened.
I'm curious to see what build Longxing is going to go in this game. I'm looking at the top lane. We saw the Triforce come out, I believe it was yesterday with Clement, where he was talking about, you know, although the nerf to the attack speed has come in on the Triforce, it's still really good. I think in this situation, though, although in a split push scenario, the Triforce does really well, I think we'll probably see the Divine Sunder build. There's going to be a lot of times where Longxing is just forced to group with the team, and if you can get this Divine Sunder in towards a early, like Gravitas Hydra in towards an early start stage, you just become so tanky and can actually be quite a bit of a threat in this team fight. And what we talked about already, the very heavy dive focus composition that V5 are going for, Longxing really needs to be the person to lock down the Jomong and Missing in these team, Jomong and Shanks in these team fights.
Shing has moved down to try and get vision of what's happening, but Beisheng's already here. He's already grabbed the Scuttle Crab. Wei Wei starting to fall pretty massively behind in this game. And let's bear in mind that Wei Wei, when we talked earlier on today, we set V5 up as kind of the three apostles returning, right? It was PP God, Mole, and Wei Wei. These are the three returning players from V5. And these are the kind of the three main centerpieces that this team is going to play around. Wei Wei being this far behind in the jungle means that the rest of V5's game plan kind of falls apart behind. He's 30 CS down as well as the 2 kills from earlier. Never mind the fact that Beisheng also has a Rift Herald, so he's going to have some plate gold coming his way shortly. This makes it very difficult for V5 now to play out the next few minutes of the game.
Especially when you look at the fact that Shanks' teleport is coming up soon. I'd love to see Shanks just shove in this mid lane incredibly hard, and then off of this slow wave that's building the bot side, they can look to get the Rift Herald and the TP with Shanks to guarantee that you can take this bottom lane turret. Because Jomong, again, if you can get this 80 carry fed, is going to do a lot of work in these team fights. And especially when you look at the dive orientation of V5 that we talked about, a dive composition that falls behind just sucks. Like, you need to at least stay even to ahead, because otherwise you're just diving into your death, and that's not fun for anyone involved.
And this is one of the really smart things that we've seen coming out from Jomong as well this game, is that instead of going with something like the cleanse or the heal, he has gone for the exhaust himself. We saw it in that last fight. Mole dives into the back line as he's trying to finish off some of these low health bars. Immediately, Jomong just drops the exhaust onto him. Mole can't get anything done, and it means that the rest of the fight can be swept up by WE. They're now 1,500 goals, or just over 1,000 gold, ahead of their opponents. Drake's coming up in 20 seconds, and realistically, there shouldn't be a universe where V5 can contest. They say that, though. Shanks is in trouble as it's a 1v1 between him and Mole. Flashes away and throws out Scatter the Weak. Mole has the perfect execution. Beisheng actually flashed after that one. A little bit suspect on the flash, to be quite honest. There was no way Beisheng could finish that.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him go that aggressively now, though. Yeah, just looking to see if he can stop the backs for Mole. As you said, that Dragon being up means a lot here for WE if they can continue to stack these and have that as a win condition on the cards, because it will be Mountain or Inferno that we look towards ourselves. But Mole...
Oh. Is the plate going to go down? It doesn't. Mole protects the plate there. Beisheng gets 2 plates for himself. Shanks got none of that plate gold. So... good job by Mole to try and keep the mid lane matchup at least somewhat even. Now it's going to be Breathe that's in trouble. He's not used to being the weak side top laner here. 1 versus 3. It's going to be an easy kill for the side of V5.
Smart call from V5 as well. We just said, look, you're not going to be able to contest that Dragon because Mole is going to be forced to back. You don't have priority mid. Right. Instead, they go and make that play topside, get some much needed gold into the hands of this Kali and also this Camille, who are going to be the mainstay when we get towards this later portion of the game. Now, there is the opportunity as well for V5 where not only just opting towards dive, they can look to play at a 1-3-1 for a while where Longxing can do relatively well against Breathe. We can see already Mole, now that he's working up towards that rocket belt, will do a lot of work against Shanks too. So I think there is opportunities here to slow the pace of the game down for V5, and I think that's their best bet. Not let the fact that WE are getting this control of the map, getting control in the bottom lane and letting them run away with the game.
Oh dear, the blue buff trying to escape there, but Shanks is going to be able to return up towards this top side here as launching, Breathe, sorry, going to be in the mid lane. As soon as I see Orn, I just think like, shit, that's how synonymous he is with that pick. But I have to say, that last tower going down, the last plate, sorry, in the mid lane going down, nobody being there for WE. It's such a sad sight to see a tower plate that was on 1 HP just go to nothing.
But look, you know what? They gave them the opportunity to play it. It could have been cooperative. It could have just given the little bit of extra gold across. You know what? You don't get asked twice. You don't get invited to the party twice. They didn't want to be a part of the rest of the gold that's in their wallets. They don't get a second chance.
Oh, Jomung is in big trouble here. Lunching takes out half of his health just so easily there. Breathe had to TP just to make sure that the AD carry is going to be okay in this one. Does mean now that Mole has a bit of solo time on the top side of the map. Jomung has to answer with this tower here. And it looks like it will be a trade of towers across the map.
But this is exactly what we were talking about, is this 1-3-1 that they can opt into as V5. Yet you're actually trading evenly here, plus getting the summoner spell out on the side of V5. So honestly, it's a win in their books. And if they can continue with this pressure, it makes things a heck of a lot easier. Especially when you're looking in 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes, essentially, this dragon's going to be up. Hey, look, that's 1-3-1. We just got that TP out of Breathe. No TP on Shanks, although will just about be available for the dragon. Spread the map open, and we can look to play towards this next dragon by using the pressure that we have with these summoner spells.
And look at this, V5 using the pressure that they had from Breathe, TPing towards the bottom side to start this Herald off. In comes Breathe, Call of the Forge God is there, and it's Beisheng that gets the Herald. This is disastrous for Weiwei, who's stuck in the pit without a flash. A kill comes off the back of it for WE. They get their cake, and they get to eat it.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. Everyone peeled off the Rift Herald, and you can see Weiwei was like, I got Ragnarok, I gotta commit to this. Maybe I can flash out of the pit after, but unfortunately wasn't able to deal the damage he needed to quick enough. Ends up with Beisheng getting the steal, and Weiwei goes down as a result. So nice job from WE to collapse fast enough. And unfortunately, V5 just don't quite have the damage to burst this down. You'll see it here, like, it is getting so low. But Beisheng, with that 2-level advantage, able to steal it right out from underneath the Olaf's nose.
The flash as well. The flash was very sad. I'm pretty sure that was just a fumble on the smite, because he didn't flash away from any abilities. He flashed pretty much on the spot. Not ideal coming out from Weiwei, and it feels like he's really struggling with the pressure in this game. Missing has just completed his quest, which is not important, but I saw the little star, so I'll talk about it. Dragon coming up in a minute, Dagda. I mean, obviously, WE are going to be the ones with an advantage here. How does V5 contest, though? Because realistically, they're not that far behind in gold.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see them try and play out in the side lane strategies we talked about. However, if they wanted to go for this, it would need to be Mole on the bottom side of the map. He doesn't have his teleport up and available. And unfortunately, they don't really have the waves, or at least the timing, to get themselves back and keep the waves in a position where they can threaten WE. So it looks like, as of right now, they are going to at least keep this pressure up and see maybe if they can use that, get a pick maybe onto Breathe here, or at least fall back over towards that dragon.
Breathe going to do a decent job of trading evenly there, despite Langsheng obviously being on the Camille, having a Divine Sunderer. Like, Camille definitely wins the 1v1 at this point. If he can position correctly and make sure Langsheng's taking a couple of tower shots every trade, suddenly it's not so one-sided. Herald in the mid lane here will be able to finish this tower off. I don't think Jomung can finish it before the charge. But huge amount of priority in the mid lane for WE. It means they can rotate over towards this dragon, and it's Mole trying to answer in the top side.
Yeah, and V5 aren't interested. Mole is just going to stay there, still doesn't have his TP available. Langsheng is recalling as well, so unfortunately a bit of a fumble on the lane assignments there means that you're not really going to be able to contest. Now, it would have been difficult to anyway because you've got that mid-priority guarantee with the Rift Herald put down, but still, WE coming out on top when it comes to these map movements.
Yep, and they're able to defend the top tier 2 as well. Shank's going to TP over towards the top side for that one. WE doing a good job of maintaining control here. 3 Drakes on the board. The difference between this game for WE and last game for V5 is that this is an Infernal Soul. So there is no, you know, oh, we got Soul, but there's not much we can do about it like we saw with V5 last game and then the umming and ahhing for 10 minutes. This time it's an Infernal Soul. V5 are going to have to contest the next Drake or pretty much never win a team fight again.
Yeah, and here's the thing as well. It's not like there's one team that definitely has the scaling advantage. It's going to very much come down to execution and how you play the map. Like we've already highlighted a lot of the different strengths that are coming in on both sides. So when you're looking at, oh, hey, look, we can just add an Infernal Soul to our kit, well, then suddenly it makes it a very clear win for the likes of WE. Even the fact that they picked up these 3 dragons already is going to do a lot to help them in their abilities to play these team fights if we ever get to that point, but also just in trying to stay around in these side lanes against the likes of Longxing and Mo.
And one of the things as well that has to be talked about is how dramatically different this series has gone to what I would have expected. White4 going to be knocked up there, and the combo between Samira and Gragas is beautiful. Don't know if they can actually finish this one off, though. Weiwei is responding. There's a TP as well being channeled. Beisheng's off to the side to try and help them out. Missing is stuck, though. Doesn't have his flash available. It's actually a V5 pick here at the end of things. Jomung, level 11, has Inferno Trigger at the ready. But his trigger finger not too itchy on this one, and he will just walk away from the fray. Missing the only one to go down.
And that's the thing, if you don't pick Jhin, he still gets to do Jhin things because his entire kit revolves around him being 10 feet back from everyone else. So he's able to still get that turnaround damage with the curtain call, set up for that pick, and does buy time here for Longxing in the bottom lane as Breeze did back away. So a pick, a tower, a little bit more control in favor of V5, and that's exactly what they want to do. See if they can keep making this work for them and get towards that later game point where they're going to be so strong.
And I want to go back to what I was trying to set up before, is that how dramatically different this series is becoming comparatively to what I was expecting coming into this one. When you think about V5 last year, when you think about WE last year, they were all about the fighting, and we haven't seen that much. Great combos coming out there. White4 just managing to get his cleanse off, managing to stay as far away. Still had his flash available, by the way.
Yeah, he knew that he didn't need to use it, but I think when I go back to your point there, yeah, this was not what I expected coming into today. I thought we'd see well, we saw a lot of action, at least in game number 3, but certainly I thought we'd see the foot put down when it got towards these mid games, and WE looking more for these pick orientations, getting deep vision control, which they are slowly trying to get in this game, but certainly not to the same effect as they did in summer of 2020 or even in the previous series against Rogue Warriors. And in V5 side, we talked about these guys being so aggressive in the early point of the game, almost to their detriment. However, once we get to this mid-game portion, it seems both teams are kind of going, okay, you know what, we're actually happy to just try and take this a little bit slower. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this does favor V5. V5 are trying to get towards like Longxing being at a really strong point. You can see Divine Sunderer and Steric's Gauge picked up. He's looking at these team fights with the builds that he's gone, very tanky build. Also, when you look towards the Akali, she's got that Rocket Belt completed, the Zhonya's as well, so she's all ready to go in these team fights. There's 2 items for V5 make a big difference.
Missing's been caught out again. The Hextech ultimatum just to make sure he can go nowhere. So another pick coming out the way of V5. Luckily for WE, they've got time. It's still a minute until this Drake, but once again, it's Missing that has to be the one that contests for vision control. He's the one that has to face check, and V5 are more than happy to punish him for it.
I love how V5... Ooh, okay, White4.
Flash out from White4. It's going to be a route on Spaceshang instead as Mo closes the gap. Perfect execution to finish the kill, bringing him back into the curtain call, and the lifesteal ain't anywhere near enough. This is V5 with 2 more picks on the back of that one, and they're running a Baron.
And look at the screams out of V5. PP God nearly out of his chair as they make that play happen, but that was beautiful. And what I wanted to say was, V5 understanding how their composition works. They go for a very early reset before this dragon. They're back on the map of, like, WE traditionally have backed at about a 50-second mark. V5 go for a minute 30 back, which means they're out on the map, and they get the pick off the reset, so they're able to make this play happen before WE are even able to respond. Now V5 with Baron going towards Dragon.
And Jomung has only just respawned. Beisheng still in base as well. This should be the Dragon going the way of V5. Unless some kind of miracle still happens from Shanks here. He goes and he gets it! What? Shanks, you beauty! Steals away the Infernal Soul. And now, knock up onto more. Flash forward from Missing. The Ignite is ticking away. He's gone into the Zhonya's, but Breeze should be able to finish that one over the wall. And WE, just as it looks like it's falling out of their control, they managed to seize this game by the horns.
Oh God, Wei, what happened? It was right there. All you had to do
what
was
a
smite.
way to go.
Oh God, that's a no. But yeah, when I look at this, just overall, it was starting to look so clean. The Baron was there. You had to just hit the smite and you were away with this. But Shanks, the up-and-coming rookie on WE, stepping up to make the play after a disastrous game 2. The hero moment that could bring it all back for WE is that steal right there. And this is the play that started off. Early resets coming in from V5 mean they get full control over River. They're the ones that are able to make these plays, and it's about getting these multitude of different angles. PP God from one end, you've got the Olaf coming from another end, but there you see it, Shanks stealing that away at the last minute, and just add insult to injury, Mo going down on top of it.
And I think that, honestly, the ability to steal Drakes is one of the most underrated parts of Syndra's kit. The QE combo does well over 1,000 damage when you got a couple of items for yourself. He's got the Ludens, he's got himself his boots as well. He's able to do a huge amount of burst damage. That's not just like a... I mean, it is a negative to Wei to lose that Drake to a Syndra there, but Syndra's exceptionally good at stealing these objectives.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, after seeing the elation from V5 when they made that play, like, literally standing out of their chairs to have it come crashing down with one steal. And you can even see now, look, yes, V5, they'll be able to get some of this standing gold, and it will help them out, but this Infernal Soul is such a big victory for WWE.
And now, suddenly, that little comeback that we were seeing out from V5, they find a couple of picks, they go to Baron, they immediately try to snowball it into Dragon to deny the soul. That singular steal has halted all of that momentum in its tracks. Y4, can't quite steal the red. They can't even get a red buff Dagda. It's gonna go the way of Jomung. Nothing is going V5's way anymore. It's not feeling good. It's really not feeling good for V5.
Now, at least in V5's books, they can still play this 1-3-1 style. We can see it right here. But the problem is, now you've got two major objectives on V5 side that you have to fight for. Both the Elder Dragon and that Baron. So it's not like you can just, like, okay, well, we can gift a couple of these things across. No, these are both going to be game enders for you. So from that perspective, V5, they really have their backs up against the wall. You need to start making these plays happen where you're getting in, denying vision, and again, getting these early resets towards objectives where maybe you can look to pick people off in transition. But it's going to be very difficult in an uphill battle that was already looking pretty difficult and tumultuous for V5.
So let's take a moment here and kind of recap where we're at in the game and some of the items that are coming through for our primary carries, because even though we're talking about how WE are ahead in this one, when you look at the AD carries, there's actually a significant advantage in favor of Y4 already on the 3-item mark, whereas you've got the BF sword there for Jomung, not quite finished that 3rd item, and apparently the Chinese side are just talking about this as well because they're bringing up the item differences. That stopwatch is important though for Jomung, being able to survive a little bit better in these fights. Across the rest of the board, it's fairly even, aside from that jungle with the Collector there. Beishang almost finishing a 3rd item. He's got a Zeal as well as an Executioner, so it looks like he might even go for a Mortal Reminder here. Or maybe just building the Executioners and we'll finish something else. But regardless, we're seeing a lot of damage on the side of WE here and a lot of survivability.
Certainly. I just want to, like, coming back to your AD carry point, yes, Y4 is ahead, but the difference for a Jhin is that your strength in the team fight is at the start, when you open up with the curtain call, and the end when you come in with your 4th shots. That mid-game, or mid-fight, is a little bit shakier because you're usually trying to catch up to the fight or waiting for your damage output so you can get that 4th shot. Whereas for Jomung, he's much more impactful where he's in the thick of things, getting off a lot more damage, specifically when he gets his AoE ultimate off. However, you have hit the nail on the head there, Munch, once that Infinity Edge. Getting that 60% crit is so damn important right now for Jomung, which is why we're seeing WE take a bit of a breather, take a second, see if they can ingest some of this farm onto the AD carry, and then come back and look for these fights at the Dragon in 50 seconds.
Well, The Dragon in 50 seconds is what we've got to look at here. There is going to be a lot of damage, and bear in mind, the item difference is nullified somewhat by the Infernal Soul that's on the side of WE, so Jomung is not, even without an Infinity Edge, will be no slouch in this fight. 35 seconds on Infernal. Baron will be on the cards as well. That's up in 10 seconds. WE, though, if they get picked off, missing, taking a little bit of damage here, he's going to be fine. Beishong apparently looking towards chickens right now. Forget the fact that Elder Drake spotted in 20 seconds. I need a red buff. I need some chickens for myself. Missing going to go position up towards him as well. Breathe is here. Dagda, we're going to 5v5 on our hands.
Yeah, the big thing about this, though, is that you don't have that Infinity Edge completed, but you have that Ravenous Hydra completed for Camille. V5 have hit a really strong point at this, and you've got flashes galore on their side. A dive composition loves having flashes, the ability to outplay the CC and the lockdown of WE.
Oh, Jomung's accidentally used his stopwatch. That is bad news. In they go straight on towards Jomung. He doesn't have any way to survive, but he survives anyway. Drops down as Beishong falls as well. V5 trying to win this one out, but it's 2 versus 3 here. As the health bars are low, Shanks still surviving, still has Infernal Soul. And actually, there's not much damage remaining for the side from V5. Wei Wei trying to escape out through the top side of the fight. And that was pure chaos for a while.
It can still be fight 2 Electric Boogaloo, though. You've got the TP available for Mole. He can still come into this play as they're starting to see if they can chase down this Olaf. Wei Wei needs support right now, because if he dies, they can, off of respawn, take that Inferno or Elder Dragon. So now Wei Wei looking for the back as Mole is on the hunt.
Mole's TP'd into the play. Wei Wei trying to recall, will be able to finish it off. Looks like WE now actually can't recall here because Breathe needs to deal with this minion wave that's stopping his recall. Mole is around. Shanks looks like he's finished the recall off here. He's going to move on in. Mole jumps onto the likes of Breathe. It's an Akali. There is no answer. The TP comes on through. The damage isn't there. Feels bad, man, for Mole.
Yeah, not able to stop that anymore. No micro stun there on the Akali ult, so not able to do very much. And it means that then you're able to get back there as Breathe to the base. However, TP burnt. Breathe is in base. Now an opportunity for V5 to make something work. It looks like right now, they're all drifting down towards this bottom side. Mo's ult is on such a short cooldown that it should, as long as V5 can delay a little bit, be back up. But a lot of those key flashes that we talked about were burnt in that last engagement. So things become a little bit easier for WE to keep themselves alive. And GA is well completed for Jump.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. The stopwatch fumble can't hurt him anymore. He's got a GA now. Let's remember, this is for setting a precedent. This is for playoffs, potentially. When you look at where these guys should be in the standings, here we go. Flying into the fight. The curtain call going on through. Missing is low, but Breathe gets a knock up onto one. They're trying to back away. As it's Missing traded his life for Mole. That's a trade WE will take every day of the week. Breathe charging into the fray. Stromung is 1 stack away from his ult, but it's going to fall off as the disengage comes out from V5 now towards this Elder Drake. PP God over the wall, but he's separated from the rest of his squad. Jomung jumping in, grabs the blue buff. Looks like it was, in fact, Beishong that grabbed that. Now towards this Elder Drake they go. PP God still off on the flank, but he doesn't have his ultimate available.
And they don't really have the damage here. I mean, you need Mole to try and beat that assassination, but here comes PP God.
Ragnarok going to be used now. They have to charge into the fray. Lunching into it as well. They have so much hard engaged. Beishong forces Y4 out of the back of the fight. Breathe is still here in the pit with Lunching, but Jomung is here to back up his top laner. That's one for him, and he's looking for more. Has the Inferno trigger ready, and it means Y4 backs off.
And a brilliant job from Jomung there, realizing, hey, look, if everyone is focused on taking down Shanks, I can go straight towards this back line. Gets onto Y4, separates out the team fight, and from that point forward, WE can deal with all the members of V5 in the pit. They get the Elder Dragon. They are looking at the Baron. WE are looking to put this game in the W column.
Let's bear in mind, these guys are neck and neck when it came to power rankings at the start of this split. They could be tied later on in the year, and it looks like WE might just have that head-to-head tiebreaker, might just put themselves 2-0 on the standings in the LPL. This has been a slog of a best-of-3 for the two teams, but WE just edging out these fights by mere inches. They get the Elder Drake, they get themselves the Baron.
And I mean, you've got a minute and a half left on towards this dragon. There'll be a minute essentially left by the time they get back onto the map. You've got plenty of time on this Baron. Like, this is where WE can really start to take these last remaining outer turrets, pressure these inhibitor turrets. Now, they may not be able to finish the game off in one swift blow, but this is definitely a big advantage for themselves, especially when you look towards the likes of the Samira getting more items for herself, Shanks as well. This is the Infinity Edge, as you can see there, for Jomon already completed. Like, this is... Oh, this is getting dicey now, Munch.
Wait. Jomon had just finished his GA before that fight. He got an entire Infinity Edge out of bounties in that fight.
Yeah.
That's insane. He got 3,500 gold from those fights and from the back of getting Elder and getting Baron. That is a monumental gold swing. And now he's gone from like a reasonable carry that if he gets an ult off, he'll win the game to god tier hyper carry.
I like this for Jomung as well. Waiting to escort the minion wave. You get the speed up off of Handled Baron, so giving that a little bit of more time to get towards these waves. And you can see V5 playing very respectful. It's the countdown. It's the 30 seconds until Elder is gone. WE putting V5 their backs once again against the wall, seeing how much they can take while this Elder Dragon's still available.
Bear in mind, PP God is on the flank right here. He's outside of the base looking for an opportunity, but WE know exactly where he is. They're not going to fall for this one. Just getting a bit of chip damage down onto the base. 13 seconds on this Elder Dragon, and then V5 could theoretically pull the trigger. Mole going to be forced away on this Akali. Wants to try and get a flank himself. Wants to go in. Bree just stands there, staring PP God down. And there's two people off trying to flank, but they're too far away from the play. Now the team fight has exploded. Wi-Fi with the current core can't do a whole much of anything, as WE should be able to win this one out. Jomung into his GA. Same can be said for Mole and the Zhonya's up on the top side, but he goes down. Langxing too low. Wi-Fi knocked up into the sky and blasted out of the air by the Hunter of Beisheng. Into the base they go. And down go V5. This is WE taking this series and tying themselves up in first place on the scoreboard.
A hard-fought victory for WE, taking it to all 3 games, taking it to the wire. But WE are able to come out on top, and you gotta look at just how close that game number 3 was. Honestly, it felt like it came down to that smite on that Infernal Soul, giving that little bit of extra damage over in favor of WE, eking out these team fights. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that will take the victory home.
It's a fantastic performance out from WE here, and a crucial win as well. You could see the relief on the players' faces as they were going for those fist bumps at the end.